really respond or didn't want to talk to anybody, but I wish so bad someone would just come and bring me the names of people that were really seeking. I'm a seeker of seekers. And I've learned that World Bible School is one of the best ways to find truth seekers. And so I've loved World Bible School all of my life. My father and my grandfather even were very close connected with World Bible School, and they've been such a blessing and have probably, I'm pretty sure, have been the most fruitful in the kingdom in my lifetime, and probably in yours. And that really impacts me. So much so that now I work full time for World Bible School. Don't ask me any questions. I'm new. I don't know the answers. I'll just have to ask Bill and Richard over here because they know. I do want to introduce these two brothers, wonderful men. Most striking characteristic that both of these two men have is they love the lost, and they're really good at helping people teach the lost. I want to introduce both Bill Colwell and Richard Patton. They have similar works there at World Bible School. Bill is the manager of the church relations at World Bible School in Cedar Park, Texas. And they work together helping congregations to establish new World Bible School programs in different locations, different local congregations, teaching teachers how to teach, study helpers how to study and encourage people that are seekers, and helping congregations to improve existing World Bible School programs. They give presentations in churches. We'll be in, say it again, Rio Rancho, New Mexico, Sunday, and I'm anxious to see and hear and learn. And so these two brothers also go to big brotherhood events like Vision Workshop and so forth. So I'm really glad to have their expertise in knowing all the answers how to work these programs. I am so excited to see and be a part of the effective evangelism of World Bible School, probably the most effective evangelism in the churches of Christ in our lifetime. Our brother Bill has been in the Air Force for 26 years, and so you better strap on your seatbelt, and he's going to fly us around World Bible School materials and tools of all kinds. Also, these men have been working in churches, serving in a lot of different ways and teaching Bible classes just like you and I. And so we praise God for this opportunity. Please, let's pay great attention to one of the most important things that is in the heart of our God and Savior. So, Bill, would you introduce a little bit?
Well, thank you, Tim, and thanks to all of you for being here today. We appreciate your presence. We really do. I understand we have quite a few senior aimers here today. Is that right? Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. And we have folks here, I know, some from as far away originally as France. Anybody further away than France?
I mean, I come from Alaska. So.
Okay, that's pretty far. Thank you for coming, all of you. We appreciate it. We're going to split the presentation today. Richard is going to start. He's going to talk mainly about current activities and current tools that we offer. And then we'll transition. And I will talk a little bit about some of the new things that we have done recently and that we are planning for the future. So I hope that in this presentation you will find something that's useful to you. Please know that we have our display downstairs. Come take a look. All the materials are free except the Bibles, which are for sale, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But please come see us, and if you have questions, let us know. So with that, I'll turn it over to Richard.
All right.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. I think it's only fair to warn you that I haven't had a lot of experience yet in presenting in front of people. So y'all are going to be my first class, and that just to me just I want you to know that this is because this is not something easy for me to do, to get up and talk to you in this way. This is just an example of the passion that I have for World Bible School and the methods that they are using to teach, and how effective I have seen them to be. And so so please bear with me in my presentation skills. I know they will get better, but we'll have to give it some time. And thank you again for being here. I'm going to share with you some of the time-tested tools of World Bible School, which are still very effective. And I don't want to dismiss that in any way just because they've been around a while. But we're also going to discuss some of the new tools that are going to be available, and those are going to be very effective in reaching a new generation. And we all recall that Jesus challenged his disciples in the Great Commission to take his message and to teach. He also wanted them to make disciples, to baptize, and not just across town, not just around the corner, but around the world. What a challenge. I mean, even today, that's something that's not easy to do. But imagine a time in which there were no planes, trains, and automobiles, and no modern communication, phones, and internet, or television. But did they succeed? Yes. We learn in Colossians 1:23, they took the message to the whole world. As followers of Jesus, took the good news to the whole world. Well, how about us today? How are we doing? I believe we bear that same responsibility to take this message to our world just as they did to their world. There are still souls to save, are there not?
Yes.
Are there not fields to harvest? Well, they're just like there were 2,000 years ago, there is today. So what can we do? Well, I think World Bible School can help with this. World Bible School has the tools to help you share Jesus. And it can help the average Christian just share their faith and share the good news with those who are seeking and want to know. World Bible School, at the core of World Bible School, I would say, or at the beginning, is postal correspondence. There is a growing number of those who are wanting to learn online, but still, even today, last year, there was 88% of our students were postal students. And this, what you're seeing on the screen here is the World Bible School curriculum. This is what the print version looks like, but it's the same lessons that are available in the online study too. It all begins with the introductory lesson, The Way of Life, which is a short, basic lesson, doesn't assume a lot of biblical knowledge, but it uses the story of a young boy watching his father prepare for a trip, and he's studying a map to make sure he gets to his destination. And it relates to our spiritual journey, which is using the Bible as our roadmap to help us get to our destination. God has spoken, establishes God's authority and how God has revealed himself to man over time. This is good news, and knowing Jesus, explaining God's plan and how Jesus is the fulfillment of that plan. Born of water and spirit, and this is where the student will get into conversion. This is will help a seeker know what to do and how they can please God. Then there's the family of God and live a life of love, and these are designed for new Christians. It uses Ephesians at the core of its lesson to just help new converts, just like Paul helped new converts or new Christians in his time. So I also want to share with you a couple of other series, and just as things would happen, I just had a conversation with a lady down at our table that didn't know about the special series of studies that we have available that teachers can send to their students. One is the Muslim series, and this is designed to help a student that has identified their religion as being Muslim in the introductory lesson in the profile section. And it's designed to help that student begin their study on familiar ground. That means it will help them know so they can see God's plan and they can know who Jesus really is. The other series that we have available is the children's series. And I also find this very exciting because the kids want to know about God. And they are sending in requests, and they do get requests from kids under the age of 12, and this is designed for kids ages 8 to 12. And what I find exciting about this is this could be what opens the door for teaching the whole family.
Amen.
So, with World Bible School, they have been teaching with postal correspondence for over 45 years, and with online since 1995. Online lessons began by email only, but is now available through the worldbibleschool.org website. So considering these two methods of teaching, a lot of people have learned God's Word using World Bible School. In fact, I'm going to share with you some numbers. These are fresh numbers because these are from 2017. So you guys are going to be among the first to even know these numbers. We had postal correspondence students that reached almost 1 million students. And these are just students that registered through our office at World Bible School. Online, we had over 139,000 students. So I know you're all good at math. That's over 1.1 million students that studied through using World Bible School. And I like to say these are very conservative numbers because these are numbers that can be verified. What we could also add to this, but we're not, because we don't want to claim something that we can't prove, of course. But there have been referrals, and each lesson, students are able to offer the names of family and friends that are sent directly to their study helper. And the study helper then adopts those students or sends them on to the lessons. They don't come through the World Bible School office in Cedar Park, so therefore they're not counted. But I'll give you an example of how big that number can be. The Westover Church in the Austin area has their own World Bible School program. They do not take names from World Bible School. However, they get all their names from these referrals. And last year, they told us they had studied with or sent lessons to 27,000 students in the postal lessons. So that number alone will put our postal students over 1 million. I think that's pretty exciting.
Amen.
I also want to share with you that there are 1.5 million students at any given time during the year that are studying using World Bible School. They are taught and encouraged by upwards of 8,000 everyday Christians. And every year, up to 18,000 students continue their studies to the point that they request baptism. That's some exciting things too. But in thinking about all these numbers, there's a scene that keeps popping in my head, and it's that of a World Bible School teacher that has somebody come up to them in heaven and they say, I haven't met you before, but I'm here because you taught me about the Bible. And it really says that this, for all these big numbers that we've had and I've talked about, there's really a number that's more important. That's the number 1. That is one Christian helping one seeker at a time find Christ. And it's that one-to-one relationship that is producing some incredible results. Let me tell you about Rexon in Polo as an example. Rexon is from Malawi. He attended a World Bible School seminar in Harare, Zimbabwe in 2013, and he was baptized. He went home and he wrote back to World Bible School that he was now preaching to people gathered under a tree. He has baptized 6 other people and continues to teach and preach. On the screen here is a letter from Stephanie's son. Stephanie was a student from China. She had a study helper his name is Al Garrett. He lived in the Dallas, Texas area, and they were studying by postal lessons. And she got to the 5th lesson, which She was born of water and spirit. She couldn't accept the concept of baptism, and she quit the study. And Al did not hear from her again for 10 years until she wrote him this letter explaining that she had decided to be baptized. She was now his sister in Christ, and thanked him for all he had done for her. So it just shows that, Al is just one person, but he has had quite an impact on this young lady. So let's be faithful in our task, sowing the seed, and let God be faithful in his role, which I know he will. He's going to do it in his own time, as this story illustrates. Here's another example, and this is from Bill Lewis. He's a friend of mine, and he is now preaching in Ogallala, Nebraska. He spent time as a chaplain at the Sterling Correctional Facility in Sterling, Colorado. And he has taken the message to the inmates at the prison there, and he used World Bible School, of course. And he reported back to World Bible School about 23 souls that responded to the gospel. But if you'll notice the last line there, testimony to World Bible School and the tools that they have to offer. One of the things he did tell me personally that was very difficult for him was that it was really the false teachings of other prison ministries that had gone before him. But World Bible School had helped to overcome some of them. And here's another message that came from Bill. And I, just last year, prior to coming to my work for World Bible School, I even had this conversation with Bill, and he was telling me about more baptisms. But one of the things that had him excited about these baptisms is that some of the students were teaching themselves, and they were using the World Bible School Study Bible. And prisoners that had been baptized just the year before were now teaching others using World Bible School material. So what to make of all the numbers and all these personal stories is that World Bible School helps Christians share the gospel with others that are seeking, and it helps Christians to share this good news that can change lives and give hope. Now, World Bible School is supported by generous Christians and churches, and for every $1 that's given, another person continues their study using World Bible School. So we love partnering with individuals, we love partnering with churches, and we'd love to partner with you too. Just consider what your donation or how many could come to know Christ because of your gift. I want to share this with you too. It's always good to have a picture to put to this message. And if a picture is worth 1,000 words, I think a baptism picture is worth 1,000 more. This is Ashley, and this picture comes to us from the Beltline Church of Christ in Decatur, Alabama. And this is from their prison ministry. And what do you notice in this picture? And how would you describe her face? Their prison ministry uses World Bible School material, of course. And those are handcuffs on her wrists. And notice the refreshed look on her face. This picture to me, there's a verse that came from Peter's sermon and his second sermon in Acts that really, this is a picture of it basically. And that is, repent therefore, return back to your sins, may be blotted out, and these times of refreshing may come from the presence of the Lord. What's really, really powerful about this picture, Ashley, she's still an inmate, but spiritually she's free, released from the bonds of sin. And this is something that we all strive for in our teaching. But at this point, we want to share with you some more of the tools, just like Beltline Church of Christ is using. This is where Bill is going to come up and help present what some of those tools are and some of those new tools that are going to help reach a new generation.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Didn't you do a great job?
Yeah.
This is for public presentation. Really appreciate that. Good job. Get all fixed up here. We talked earlier about how God or Jesus told his disciples to take this message to the whole world. And we talked about how they did. Richard also mentioned the fact that we need to do that same thing. We need to have that same spirit, that same motivation to take this message to our whole world. But there's an interesting aspect of that I want to be sure that we don't overlook. Many people thinking about World Bible School think that's way over there, way far away, and it is. But also, consider this verse. Acts chapter 1, verse 8. Jesus told his followers to be his witnesses in 3 places. And do you know where they were when he said this? They were in Jerusalem. In essence, if I can summarize, isn't he essentially telling them, first, be my witnesses right where you are?
Yes.
And wouldn't that same command apply to us today? I think it does, and I think we need to consider that. We can help any Christian who wants to reach out far away or who wants to use WBS materials to reach out close to home. Now, I don't know where all of you are from, so today we're going to assume you're all from Lubbock, because we're going to talk about local outreach using WBS, okay? And that local outreach using WBS is what we call Connect. So let me give you a little background on that. Some of you heard this before, but there's a twist, and I'll get to that in a minute. Connect is simply the concept of finding ideas represented by the light bulb, how to let your local community know that you're offering a Bible study, that you want to give them the opportunity to learn about Jesus, learn about God, using World Bible Study materials. We help you with those ideas, how to do that. Those ideas then generate local people who say, I want to study, they register, and when they do, their name is forwarded to your congregation so that you and your local brothers and sisters, one of you can become their study helper, their encourager, their helper. That's the idea. In a nutshell, that's Connect. It's nothing more than that. But obviously there's details that go with that. So let me give you a couple of details to help you understand how that works. How do you let your community know? What are these ideas I referred to earlier? Well, there's a lot of ways to do this. One of them is what we refer to as traditional advertising. That's something as simple as printing a whole bunch of business cards and giving them to all of your members, and encourage everyone, as you go about your week, hand that to someone with a smile and ask them, look on the back and check out that website. Simple as that. Or you could find places to put up posters so that people would see other small handouts that could be given to people with an invitation. Please check this out and consider studying with World Bible School. What's unique in each of these cases is that there is a specific, unique web address that's on the business card that your congregation would hand out, and that's different than the one that your congregation would hand out. So that when you give that to a person, they go to register. That's how the system knows. Forward it to this brother's congregation. So you're advertising locally, finding people locally who come back to you to be taught and encouraged. That's local or traditional advertising. That could also be an ad in the paper. That could also be a spot on the local radio station. I've even seen a church that produced signs, much like a realtor sign, and members put them in their front yards. Anything to get that address in front of people so that they can consider signing up. Traditional advertising. Additionally, a second method is what we call web ads, and this utilizes the power of the internet to find people in the local area who want to study. Now, when I say local area, that can mean one of two things. Local can mean right where you live, your hometown. It can also mean Nairobi, Kenya. For example, if your congregation supports a missionary or a local preacher in Nairobi, Kenya. Web ads uses targeting to find in a local geographic area those who want to study. Now currently, churches are using this in 34 states, and you see those areas represented by the red circles. Additionally, churches are utilizing this in about 17 countries around the world. I really am hoping to see this grow and see this map covered up with more and more web advertising. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about how it works, because if you looked at our title in the program, it said New Tools to Reach New Generations. Well, web ads generally is not a new tool for several years, but we have just this month implemented a substantial update. It is a new tool. Let me explain. First, to use web ads, you need to decide, where do you want to target? Well, I live in Lubbock. Let's target Lubbock, Texas. So you pick the center point that you want to target. If you simply say, target my city, then it's going to put the center point in the geographic center of your city or town. You can also choose a street address, a mailing address, perhaps the address of your church building. That becomes the center of your targeted area. Then you decide how big an area do I want to target. And you do this on the website, by the way. It's a very simple process. And it gives you a choice. You need to identify a circle around that center point, and you need to tell the system how big a radius do I want to target. As small as a 5-mile radius, as large as, I believe, a 100-mile radius. That becomes your targeted area of interest. And under the new web ads, anyone within that boundary who finds World Bible School, regardless of how they find it, through a Google search or other means, if they register, their name is then presented to you for your consideration so that you can consider adopting them and teaching. That's web ads. Compared to the old web ad system, we really believe that this is going to bring in more students for the local advertising dollar, and it also is going to allow you to be in total control of how your money is spent. So we're very excited about that. Now, let me shift gears here, and I want to talk about some other things. How many of you have seen this? You see your hands.
Best Bible you've ever put out.
Thank you, brother. So a lot of you are familiar with this Bible. We have had this Bible now for just over a year, okay? This is the new English Standard Version Bible. We call it the World Bible School Study Edition Bible, okay? It is ESV. It's a modern English translation. We chose that for a variety of reasons, one of which is those large numbers Richard showed you, 1.1 million students worldwide last year. Most of those were not in the U.S. Many of them are not native English speakers. We needed a modern translation that would be helpful to those for whom English might be a bit of a challenge. It's one of the reasons we chose this translation. So we're very happy, we're very pleased with the Bible. It includes in the back, and this is what makes it kind of unique, over 100 pages of study helps that are closely correlated to all those Master Series lessons that Richard showed you. So if I'm studying God Has Spoken, the name of one of those booklets, I can go in here and also find the chapter entitled God Has Spoken. It doesn't duplicate that material, it builds on it. So it gives the student even more references and study helps to help them dig deep into the Word. Very exciting. The third thing about this Bible, we have a program whereby students who complete at least through Born of Water and the Spirit can receive this Bible for free. Well, that's not new, because many teachers over the years have sent the Bible for free to the students. The difference is this. In the past, the teacher would buy this Bible and then send it. Today, if the student meets the threshold that we've set, the teacher lets us know, we send the Bible to the student and only ask the teacher to pay the postage. So no one pays for the Bible, it's already paid for.
Amen.
And our hope is that that will generate much more interest and will incentivize or encourage many more people to stay with that study. The idea is, tell them right up front when you adopt them, if you'll hit that landmark, then you'll receive a free Bible. So we're excited about that, and we hope it shows a lot of results. It's also very inexpensive. Quantity discounts are available, and we're excited that all of these have made it very popular, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Now, this is a great Bible, but let me show you a problem. I want to see how many of you know what the problem is. What's the problem?
I know because I'm with you life behavior ministry.
All right, yes, sir, you understand. This is a great Bible, but many prison and jails refuse to let it in because, see that little opening right there? Why would that be a problem in a prison or jail? Pretty obvious, right? Something can get hidden in there. Okay, so we've had many reports, can't get it in. What do? Well, we then went and produced this Bible, which is the same content, identical content, but notice the difference. It's a fully glued binding. Very simple change, but our hope is many prison officials will then say, okay, let it go. And they will allow people to use the Bible. Richard spoke to the power of this Bible in the hands of prisoners. I hope you saw that verbiage from the Bill Lewis story, that not only were some of those people teaching themselves, but some of those prisoners they had baptized last year taught using this to others. Imagine that. Christians making Christians making Christians. Great. Yes, sir.
We're going to buy a number of those and start sending them into prison.
Great.
Amen.
Please let us know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buck's working with them.
Okay, great, great.
How much are the prison?
$5. Same price.
Same
Yes,
price.
sir. And there are quantity discounts available too. So anyway, we're very excited about this new tool in both of its versions, and we're hoping that that will help make a lot of difference. Okay, I gotta go quickly here. We have always sold Bibles, but we've always sold a few every year. Teachers would purchase Bibles to send to their students, and historically that number would range 3,000 to 5,000 a year. 2015, we sold about 3,000, about 5,000 in 2016. 2017 was the first full year of this Bible, and we sold 62,000 Bibles. The amazing thing to me is the amazing uses people are finding for this.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing, do you remember last August, the total solar eclipse traveled across the U.S.? A church in, oh boy, I want to say Wyoming, called me, and they said, we had all these people parking on our parking lot to watch the eclipse. Guess what we gave them?
Oh.
We've had churches buy these to give to all the kids who attend their WBS. Churches using these as pew Bibles. Now I must tell you, the print is somewhat small, but using them as pew Bibles, some giving them as gifts, using them in community outreach. A friend of mine told me yesterday that their church in Cody, Wyoming is using them Sunday night in their study groups, and they're using the lessons in the back as the curriculum for their study efforts. Have you heard the story on the news recently, the tragic story about the 13 kids in California whose parents were torturing them? Anybody remember the name of the town that occurred in? Paris, California. We got a call a couple of weeks ago from a gentleman, and he purchased 350 Bibles with the express purpose of giving them to every graduating senior in the local high school. He was from Paris.
Oh.
And I just wonder if that there might be any connection there. So lots of uses, lots of ways to use that Bible. All right. You can learn more here, worldbibleschool.net. Click on Bible. You can also order them. Yes, sir.
With going overseas and using this Bible, is there a different curriculum you would use for like going to Ireland or going to Italy, or do you use the same concept for every place?
No, it's the same curriculum. It would be the Master Series curriculum. And I'll show you in just a minute what's available in what languages, etc. So I'll show you our whole toolbox in just a couple of minutes, okay? Now, let me tell you quickly about another new tool. This is a picture of my cell phone screen, okay? Uh-oh.
Hopefully it'll come back. That's his case.
I hope so, because you want to see my cell phone screen. Okay. Do we just wait?
Usually it's back on by now. Other than that, I don't know what to do.
Did this bug come with it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, is the TV still on?
Oh, I'm not seeing any power. I may have to.
That's,
That had a red light.
There, you got a red light there.
Okay, let's see if that will come back
Yeah,
on.
power time.
Yeah, it'll
It's
come
on.
I think at most I've got about 5 more minutes, so I'm hoping we can recover this.
Your turn mechanism is not on. It just went up.
This
Oh.
one off.
No,
All right, folks, we're gonna improvise.
there you go.
Squint, looking really hard. Sorry, this is the best we've got. This is a representation of my cell phone screen. In fact, let me do this part right here. The only thing that you would see on here that's interesting, and you may not even be able to see it, one of these apps, it's a little blue app, it has a picture of a Bible on it, and it says spoken under it. And that app is in development. It's not ready now, but we're working on it, okay? Now, this app is intended to take advantage of truly a worldwide phenomenon, and that is millions of people around the world want to improve their ability to speak what? English. That's true. Am I exaggerating? Millions of people around the world want to improve how they speak their English. So spoken is intended to address that. And the way that it works, oh, I'm so sorry. The way that it works is the student is presented with a screen that has a scripture. In this case, it's John 1, 1 through 5. And what they do, they then press this record button. And using their best English, they read into their iPhone, currently iPhone only, they read into their iPhone that particular scripture, which is recorded and preserved. Okay, so they practice that way. Then the coach, the English-speaking Christian, gets the opportunity to listen to that recording, and they then do 3 things. They recording a reply into their iPhone, and they offer encouragement to this person, help them better understand how to pronounce particular words, share with them what that passage means to them, and throughout this process, the student is offered the opportunity to register to be a WBS student. Okay, that's spoken. The next one we're currently calling Methodist. It is an online study tool. It's designed for millennials, postmoderns, young people. People for whom the old school, when I was in school, I sat in the desk, the teacher was in the front, they talked, I heard, I listened, I learned. Very one-way transmission. Guess what? That doesn't work too well today, right? So this one is intended to give people the opportunity to study more in a group collaborative session. Discuss, watch videos on particular topics, and for that topic, answer questions, discuss those online, and then the big difference, go out and apply the lessons, put that into practice in their daily lives. All of this intended to bring the gospel to new generations in a way that will be attractive and that they will be receptive to. And brother, I'm sorry, I can show you this afterwards. This is the toolbox. It shows all the tools we've talked about, some in print, some online, all in English, some in other languages, English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. Okay, currently that's what we offer. Bottom line, let me just go right here, and I'm going to close with parable of the sower. I know sometimes we can try, and we can get discouraged. We talked about that earlier. And yet, remember the parable of the sower. When that sower went out and sowed the seed, what happened to most of the seed that he sowed? What did it produce?
Nothing.
Nothing long lasting. And yet he had to sow that large amount of seed to find what? The good soil, right? And in so doing, he found that good soil that produced some 30, some 60, some 100-fold. The same thing is true today, using World Bible School, or for that matter, any outreach method. Let's be consistent and persistent. Let's do our part. Let's sow that seed. We will find that good soil, and God will be able to provide the increase. All right, we'll stop there. Thank you very much for your attention. Any quick questions? We're out of time. Real quick, yes, sir.
Is there a thought or working towards the development of an app to actually go through the program on an app?
We have discussed it. There's currently nothing in the active planning phase, but I wouldn't rule it out in the future. Please remember our display downstairs. Come see us if you have questions. Otherwise, thank you so much, and let us know if we can do anything to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Richard, I thought that was Luke, 5th or 6th time.